Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something, well, radically focused. We aren't going to be looking at massive data sets or sprawling timelines. Instead, we're going to do a granular deconstruction of a single, highly isolated official document file. So grab your mental magnifying glass because we are looking super closely at the stateside source records, or, exactly what's actually been revealed to us from them.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Right off the bat, I want to draw your attention to the exact phrasing of the document's origin here. It says, excerpts from stateside source records. Notice that plural word right at the very beginning, excerpts? That tells us a massive story before we even see a single piece of data. It basically tells us there's a broader, totally unseen archive out there, a collection of records, plural. And yet, what we're examining today is just a deliberate, isolated fragment pulled from that much larger vault. It honestly begs the immediate question of curation, like who actually did the excerpting? Why was this specific fragment isolated for us to look at, while the whole rest of it just remains hidden in the dark? We're literally looking at a shadow of a much larger structure. It's just a tiny window into a totally opaque filing system.
And honestly, that perfectly illustrates the stark minimalism of what we're looking at today. Just one, out of the entire overarching archive, out of whatever vast volumes of data that title implies, exactly one singular item has been provided to us. In a world completely overwhelmed by noise, being handed just one isolated metric really forces us to stop for a second. It demands to be understood with this absolute, hyper-focused precision. When a source provides you with only one item, that item isn't just a piece of data anymore. It kind of becomes a monument.
So let's look at the hidden tension in this structure. On one hand, you've got the origin, stateside source records. It's formal, it's bureaucratic, and it carries the heavy institutional weight of a vast archive. But then, look at the output, the actual excerpt provided, USA. We go from this highly formal descriptive title to an incredibly abrupt, hyper-condensed, three-letter geographical designation. The structural relationship here is honestly staggering. It's almost like the entire archive was put into a massive pressure cooker, and all that was left, the only essential drop of data they deemed necessary to excerpt, was this single acronym.
USA. That's it. And the absolutely crucial point here is the imposing visual weight of this isolated data point. It is just three letters, there's no surrounding context, no dates, absolutely no narrative explanation. Just USA. When an official document is this heavily curated, the silence around the word actually becomes just as loud as the word itself. It firmly anchors the origin in a specific geopolitical reality, sure, but it completely refuses to elaborate. It stands entirely alone, holding the entire weight of the archive's output right there on its three capitalized letters.
Which brings us to our final and perhaps most important thought. If USA is the excerpt, what exactly is the whole? What other information remains hidden within the broader stateside source records? We've just spent our time analyzing the tip of an informational iceberg so sharp and so small that it almost cuts. But the true nature of selective record-keeping is really about what lies beneath the surface. What vast data, what context, what histories or metrics might still be concealed just outside the bounds of this singular three-letter excerpt. When you're only given one piece of the puzzle, the shape of the missing pieces becomes the real mystery. And that's really what I want you to take away from this explainer today. Always look at the data you're given, absolutely, but never ever forget to question the vast, silent archives of data that have been deliberately left behind closed doors. Thanks so much for joining me on this highly focused deconstruction today. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you in the next explainer.